and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Don't want you to get too comfortable.
Mr. Chairman, we have a representative here tonight from Southeastern Regional to present the budget for the Southeastern Regional High School.
Good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
Does everyone have a copy of the budget? I think it's sent over. All right, perfect.
Could you just give your name for the
Yeah,
record,
definitely.
please?
It's Mark Morris, and I'm the school business manager at Southeastern Regional.
Thank you.
So again, thank you for having us tonight. I'll try to keep this as short as possible, but feel free to stop me, ask any questions, or at the very end, we can go over wherever we need. I would like to start by saying the budget, it does say superintendent recommended budget, but it was approved at our last school committee meeting on February 28th. So this budget has been approved for FY18, and the total budget is $26,376,172. We can start right in the first section there and kind of how the budget is made up. Our foundation budget is $24,603,925, which is made up of $15,540,944 in state aid and $9,062,981 in local assessments. The next section we see there is the transportation of students. So being a regional vocational school, we are responsible to transport our students to school from the 9 communities we have. As I state every year, this is a section that should be funded at 100% by the state. But the state always has, in their fine print, but in their wording, subject to appropriation. So as we know, when they don't appropriate it, they don't pay the full amount. It's been as low as 28% and as high as roughly 81, 82%. This year, we're looking at roughly 71, 72% reimbursement from the state. So this is important when you speak to your senators, legislators, let them know that this affects the towns. Because if this was funded at 100%, there'd be no portion of assessment to any of the towns or the city for that piece of the transportation. So our budget for transportation is $1,409,122. The state aid portion is $1,002,742, with local assessments being at $406,380. If you turn the page to page 2, you can see that Southeastern's enrollment is actually up for FY18. So we've gone from 1,468 students to 1,508. In the town of Norton, the enrollment has gone from 89 students to 88 students, so it's down 1 student for the FY18 school year. And on page 3, we have a synopsis of our budget. So our budget in total is up 3.3% for FY18, and our enrollment is up 2.7%. You can see that this year's transportation was a little more reimbursement than the prior year, so it's actually decreased that amount. And overall, it's given us, again, a 3.3% increase. So I know you're probably saying, what does this mean to the town of Norton? So on page 4, you'll see the FY18 assessment for the town. That assessment is $996,390, and that is up $16,177 from FY17. So, and that's in that very last section at the bottom half there. The next sheet, something new we've added this year, because a lot of the towns, the city, they ask, why is the amount we pay different than Foxborough, Sharon, Stoughton, Brockton, whoever it may be? And this is just to show that the amount we receive per student is the same. The only difference is how much state aid we get from the state, or how much state aid the towns get and the city get. So again, the amount we receive for each student is the exact same, from whether it's Brockton, Stoughton, Foxborough, Norton, Sharon, it's all the same. The only control we have is that very thin blue line at the top. But the state aid, the net school spending, that's all determined by the state. So we have no control in that section. Again, and each student's cost is the same. It's just how much state aid the town gets. So on page 6, you'll see some of the factors that affect the state aid. You can see that student enrollment is one of the main factors that affects state aid. And you can see that it looks like we're down 1 student at Southeastern, but overall, it looks like in Norton, we're down 66 students in school-age population. So obviously, with less enrollment, there's less state aid. Another factor would be the municipal revenue growth factor. So the average is roughly about 2.5%, and the town of Norton has a 3.11% municipal rate, growth rate factor. So that states that the town administration is doing something positive, they're running the town well, that home values are up, property values, again, they're stable, and that the growth and revenue in the town is moving in the positive direction, above state average. On the downside, they say that if the town's doing better, they can afford more, and the state gives less in state aid, obviously. The next few pages are really informational pages. The first one is Norton's comprehensive schools. The dotted line shows the required net school spending. The solid line is the actual net school spending by the town. So there's one for the town of Norton. There's one for Southeastern Regional on the next page. And then again, and then just information. All this information is found on the Department of Ed's website. So you can find all this information. And it'll talk about foundation enrollment, the decrease in enrollment in Norton for the school year, their Chapter 70 foundation. So we put a lot of information in there just for your review. I don't have to go into that unless you have any questions specific to that, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Just a couple of questions.
Sure.
Go back. Just curious, just from a education perspective, what is your full capacity? You went from 1468, 15, what is the school's full capacity?
1508 right now, where we'd be troubled to find more room unless we were to redesign labs, classrooms, and things of that nature. We can't expand our footprint because of where we are at the school. We're on the Hockomock Swamp. As you recall, 6 years ago, we did an expansion renovation project. We've pretty much maxed out our footprint where we're at. So unless we were to redesign classrooms, labs, things of that nature, right now we're pretty much, not saying we're busting at the seams, but we'd be hard to find some additional space.
Page 5, we have transportation 269. Is that like a per pupil 269? Is that what the 269 is?
Sorry, so where are you on page 5?
Page 5, it's the
The purple,
purple? Yeah, is that just per pupil, 269?
269, correct.
So when you figured our transportation, of that 406,000, it was based on how many pupils we transport
Well, again, 269 is across the board there.
across the board?
Yeah, exactly.
So part of our assessment, the 406 is not divided equally amongst, it's by per pupil? Okay, correct.
So if you look back to page 4, if you look at where it has net transportation costs in that top half, the total 406,380, then it's divided by the towns based on their enrollment ratio.
Okay, right, thanks.
So Norton's would be the 23,714, based on 5.8% of the enrollment comes from Norton. Yes.
If I remember correctly, wasn't your transportation costs been going down the last few years?
Again, they've been going down. If you look back on page 3, you can see the prior, in FY17, it was down 9.1%, 17.9, and that's, again, those are good years from the state when they reimburse more than what they have in the past. You can see that 1 year was up 13.3%. We try to control our transportation costs as much as possible. A lot depends on the towns, the cities, the new routes. We have to look at the routes for the following year. Again, we have 40 new students, so that's at least one bus load if we were to have them all from one area. But unfortunately, those students don't come from one area. So it might take a couple of buses to get these students to school because of the geography of the locations. And we own our own school buses.
On the capital improvements, how is that just evenly distributed among all the districts?
Correct. So again, if you go back to, I'm not sure if you recall, but 6-7 years ago when we just finished our capital project, probably 3 years prior to that, we came in to propose our project at that time. We had told the towns and made the promise to the towns and to the city that we wouldn't increase the capital assessment. The capital assessment's been $192,000 for at least the last 20 years. And you can see on page 4, I believe it is, that the net capital cost is still at $192,000, divided by, again, enrollment ratio to the towns in the city.
Okay. Do you have any major projects planned?
Again, that was our major project. We did redo the athletic fields the past year, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, our baseball field out back in our property is probably 10 feet from the railroad tracks that are being proposed for South Coast Rail. So our concerns are if that was to ever be passed, obviously we couldn't have home plate 10 feet from the tracks. So we're actually looking at redesigning that field right now, so that for the safety of the students, so if the project does go through, that we're in compliance and they wouldn't tie us up.
Like,
Mark, the percentage of state reimbursement for transportation now in House 1 is about 71%.
Roughly, correct.
Did that go up for the final budget last year, or did it stay with the House 1?
It actually stayed, Governor Baker did make 9 seat cuts, but he did not touch regional transportation, so he kept that the same. And again, between MARS, which is the Massachusetts Association of Regional Schools, we try to push that message very importantly to the governor, to the reps and the legislature, that if they do make 9 seat cuts, then it affects the towns, the city, mid-year. So it's something that's really hard to have, a special town meeting for, or something of that nature, if they were to really drastically cut regional transportation. So I think they understand the importance of it, and I would hope to see, and that wouldn't change this year from what the House 1 budget is.
One more question, what are ESCO payments?
ESCO, so roughly 10 years ago, we did an Amoresco project for energy efficiency.
Okay,
In the first 3 years, we can keep that in our general budget, in the 01 budget, but after 3 years, we have to break that separately. That's why we break that out separately, and you see that outside of the ESCO after the 3 years.
energy something?
Correct.
Paul?
Totally non-financial, couple of questions.
Sure.
Can you tell me how many different programs you offer and which are the most popular?
We offer roughly 27 programs. The most popular program, I would have to say culinary, legal and protective are very popular programs, as well as cosmetology. But those, in engineering, actually robotics, the robotics team we have and the engineering team we have, that's actually picking up speed as we go. So those are, I'd say, probably the top 4 if we had to choose.
Thank you.
If you're at capacity now, will you have to go to a lottery? Suppose Norton tomorrow or next year decides that instead of 88, we want to send 110.
So what happens is, this year we had 375 freshmen, or 375 spots for freshmen. We had over 1,000 applicants. So it's not a lottery. What is it? It's an application process, and it's based on grades, attendance, things of that nature. But it is a blind application. So when they're applying, we don't know what town or city they're from. We do take a look at his grades, discipline, and things of that nature.
That's fair. That makes fair. That's fair. Okay.
So just follow-up question, how does that work with 8 towns, 1 city, and 1 city has a majority of the enrollment?
I would say they probably have more students that apply than the towns. So obviously they'd have, through attendance and grades, there would be more to be chosen. For example, if there was 100 students from Brockton and only 2 from Norton,
Right, yeah.
Other questions?
That's okay.
I guess that's all we have. Thank you very much.
thank you. And again, I do always open the invitation. If you're ever in town or by the school, feel free to stop by. The students this year, actually, we've put together a very innovative shop, should we say. It's called the Makerspace. So it brings together all different trades into one area, and they actually built a tiny house this past year for open house. The students are very proud of it. It's there to be displayed, and next year is actually our centennial year at the school, and they'll actually be auctioning off or raffling off the tiny house. So for a chance of $30, you could own a tiny house built by the students. But again, if you have time, please come by. I think you'd be very surprised and very impressed with what's going on at the school.
I've been there, it's great.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Have
you
a good
very
night.
much.
See you tomorrow night. Okay.
I don't see why we can't have a motion to vote on this tonight, so whatever. On page 4.
What is their, oh, I got it. Mr. Chairman, make a motion we recommend for line item Southeast Vocational Department 306, $996,390.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. All right.
Okay. In your packet tonight, you have a list of the warrant articles on the annual town meeting, and you have the draft of the warrant still under review by council. The capital plan, the capital committee met last week and voted their recommendations, which you have in your packet tonight. A new estimated revenue and expenditure sheet, and the control worksheet, and then budget packets and the budget pages. And we've listed on the agenda certain budgets, some of the smaller budgets, if you wanted to take those up tonight and vote on those. And okay.
Yeah, we can go through these pretty quickly.
Yep.
All right, so
And the first one is reserve fund,
132.
132, 150,000.
It's been a constant over the years.
And just also, you can see what was actually expended over the last few years. In 2015, almost 9,800 was the balance at the end. In 2016, 58,275 balance at the end.
Do I have a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I recommend account number, reserve fund account 132, $150,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
The next item is 151 legal services. And the recommendation, again, this year is the same as last year, 70,000. We've been doing pretty well with our legal budget. Obviously, we don't know what's going to come forward. One of the changes we made in the last contract year was we don't have our attorney present at all negotiations. So same thing's happening with these negotiations. I'll do the negotiations with the 7 unions and just contact counsel if I have questions. So that saved us quite a bit. And so proposing the same thing, 70,000.
Mr. Chairman,
Tom?
I recommend 70,000 for Department 151 legal services.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Next is tax title foreclosure, $45,000. It's an increase of $5,000 over what was appropriated last year. The town treasurer has been making an effort to identify parcels that we've taken for taxes and develop auctions, working with council on that. And she was very successful in an auction earlier this year. And we hope to continue with that, get those properties back on the tax rolls.
Mr. Chairman, I move $45,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed?
Extension. Extension.
Oh, did you oppose?
No,
Okay.
just slow.
Slow.
Next item is under elections, 162. And the recommendation is for a budget of $29,561. That includes $610 in personnel services and 28,951 in charges and expenditures. Just on the personnel, we were paying $8 an hour to our poll workers. And in the meantime, minimum wage has gone up $1 a year, and it's up at 11 now. We're raising them to 10. Towns are exempt from minimum wage, but most of the towns around here have raised it up to $10 an hour for their poll workers.
There's going to be a special election coming, I believe, in June.
But that will be in the current
Oh, okay.
current fiscal year,
All right.
June 6th.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend Department 162 elections, the approval of 29,561.
Second.
Do we have to vote them individually? Do we have to vote them by 570?
Yes.
510, okay.
Oh.
Section 510 for the amount of $610.
Second.
A motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
And, Mr. Chairman, recommend the amount of $28,951, elections, Departments 570.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Next item is Southeastern Regional Planning and Economic Development. Our dues, $3,400. Southeastern's been very helpful to us here on some studies we've done recently. One being the intersection of South and North Worcester and Route 123. They did a signal warrant analysis for us on that, and it did meet the warrant analysis, so there will have to, the state will be asked to put traffic signals or some improvements there. Also, we just received funding from them recently, and $4,000 to help us develop our Complete Streets Safe Routes to School plan, which will be helpful also. So they continue to come through for us, anything that we ask them.
Good motion, Paul.
I'll move $3,400 for Southeastern, 176 Southeastern Regional Planning.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Next item is for the town report, $2,000.
That's what it is. Do you want any questions?
I have a question. So how many books did we actually give out last year? And can we make it less?
One of my pet peeves, to be honest with you. I get sick of looking at those boxes there, and at some point, I hope that it can just be online. If people want to see the town report, just look at it on the town's website. You know, I know you're right. You're going to have a lot of resistance to that. So I'm trying to think of how many we print. We've reduced the amount that we print each
So we're
year.
at the minimum anyways, probably at
Yeah,
this point?
that's the problem we have, exactly.
Right.
Is what it is.
But there's a box out there for you if you want to take one home with you.
Yeah.
I have one already.
Rick?
Mr. Chairman, I move the amount of $2,000, Department 195 Town Report Printing.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
The next item is postage, and, we're keeping it pretty close here at $32,000, because last year we we appropriated $31,950, and we did have expenditure of $34,794 in 2016, so we'll keep an eye on it and see how we do ending up this fiscal year, and see if we might have to adjust it a little bit in October, but for right now, it should be okay.
Paul?
I'll move for 199 postage, 32,000.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
And then one of the best deals we have is our sailor of weights and measures. You're required to have a sailor of weights and measures, and then rather than have an employee, we pay the state $2,000 a year to serve as our sailor of weights and measures, and it's never gone up since I've been here, so keep that quiet, don't let them know, but we like that deal.
It's a good deal.
Anything in the state government probably it hasn't gone up.
Mr. Chairman?
Correct.
I move to approve $2,000 for Sailor Weights and Measures, 244.
Second. Second.
The motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous?
The next item is street lighting. I've reduced it actually from 125 to 120. We're waiting to see what happens on this. The reason for the reduction is finally, in February, the solar facility on Hill Street came online, and we recently received a credit of $27,000 due to that facility. So we get a credit of $27,000, and then we get a bill from the solar company for about $6,000. So we netted out in just that period of January and February, 21,000 credit. And this is split. It's split between our street light account. They picked some of the larger accounts to put it towards. Our street light account, the high school, I think it may be the Salmonese, and Town Hall, and 2 accounts with the water department. So the bill that we get, the departments get the credits, obviously, and the bill that we get, we're splitting between the various departments for their expense, but it should save us some money on our streetlight account.
Now, the charging stations that come on board, will that affect this?
I don't think they use a lot of juice, and I actually want to put a sign out front to let people know it's a public charging station. If people are here, if anyone in town has a hybrid and they want to charge it while they're in the town hall, they can, but they don't use a lot of juice.
Phil Zawaski yesterday. Boy, was he enthusiastic.
A motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend 425,570 in the amount of $120,000.
Second.
Motion a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous?
The next account, sanitary landfill, 12,000. The reason there's an increase in this, we unfortunately took a piece of property years ago that has to be monitored. We should never have taken the property, but we did, and we have to put. The state came out this year about the property, and it was a dump site, and now we have to monitor and provide reports to the state each year. So that's why last year was $6,700. Now it's $12,000 because we not only have to continue to give the state reports on the cap landfill, but we also have to give them reports on that site also. So this is for the engineering fees for that.
Where is this site?
Maple Street?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Do you expect that to continue to go up at all?
I don't think it's going to go up a lot, but I think we're going to have to continue to do it. We're trying to market the property. You want to buy it? We'll sell it to you for $1. As long as we're trying to market the property, we don't have to clean it up. So we continue to try and market it. So anyone that's interested, we'd be glad to sell it to you.
Village commercial?
Yeah.
Chairman?
Right.
I move that we recommend 438,570 in the amount of $12,000.
Second.
Motion a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous?
And the next budget, as was presented to you by the treasurer, is for maturing debt. The first item is maturing principal on long-term debt, $1,681,766. and repayment of temporary loans, $47,197, for a total of $1,728,953.
Phil?
Chairman, I move for 7-Eleven maturing debt, $1,728,963.
I think it has to be split.
Does it have to be,
Separate.
do we have to split the two items?
You don't, but, because we have the interest separate on the next budget, so
That's
as
what I
long as you,
thought.
as long as you vote the maturing.
Second?
This motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Tom? Oh, abstention, sorry.
The next budget is under 750 interest, and there is interest on long-term debt, $531,207, and interest on notes of $14,942, so the total is $546,149.
Mr. Chairman, 750 interest, $546,149.
Second?
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Another abstention.
The next budget is 910 employee benefits, and it breaks out into, I'll go through the categories as we go along. Contributory, $2,601,305, and that's our payment to the Bristol County Retirement System. The next, under personal services, is the health insurance. And so the medical insurance is $7,500,000. And co-pay by the town is $20,000. The next is our Medicare, and the request is for $480,000. And it's-
460.
60?
What did I say? Oh, 460,000, sorry. And the total expenditure, $10,581,305.
Steve?
Mr. Chairman, Mike, on this, on the other personal services, so the health insurance is in there, and that 20,000, is that agreed upon reimbursement of co-pays?
It is. We just put some, our account's doing pretty good in that, but we agreed when we switched to the new insurance that because of the co-pays and deductibles, we pay 50% of certain of the co-pays and deductibles for the employees.
How much did we expend last year?
We actually are still over 300,000 in that account. This is just to have something set up to take the money out of. So the way the account was set up, if it went below 200,000 by July 1, we would have to put money into it to bring it up, but we're not going to be close to that.
So I thought it was 20,000 that we put in that account for this. Is it 200,000?
It's 20,
Yeah.
just to have something here that the accountant has an account to pay the co-pays out of.
Okay, so the 7.5 million is the health insurance
Right.
cost.
In our health insurance costs, we're fortunate this year, I think I might have mentioned to you before, because of the plan we switched to, only went up 6% this year, and the plan we were on went up 30%. So it's still a good benefit for the town, everyone switching to that plan.
There's no circuit breaker? I mean, 30%, of course,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know, it's, well, they're trying to encourage everyone to go on the deductible plans, because and we're looking to introduce actually, hopefully, I don't know if it will be in play for this coming fiscal year, a high deductible plan, and with it, a health security account. So if someone's young, it's probably a good deal for them to set up a health security account, and the town would contribute money towards their health security account because we'd be saving so much on the cost of the health insurance. It'd be worth it for us. And they can take that health security account and just keep building it up. And it can be used for anything to do with their health needs. And actually, once you turn 60, you can actually take the money out and use it for something else, but you pay a high penalty if you do. And when you turn 65, and retire, you can use your health security money for whatever you want. It doesn't even have, so if you have it, it's like a savings account for them if they don't get sick and don't have to use it. If you do use it for something other than health related, when you're over 65, you have to pay the income tax on it, but no penalty.
Mr. Chairman, what about a follow-up question? Flexible savings accounts, do we have any of that for the employees?
We have flex spending accounts. So, like myself, I set up a flex spending account each year of $2,000, which can be used to pay for medical expenses.
And Mike, maybe it's too early, but do you think there'll be matches in that health savings account? If you ever go that route?
If we go that route, we'll have to look at how much the town would be willing to put in order to encourage people to go on to that.
Okay.
And we do, as part of the agreement with the plan we just switched to, we also put in there that someone that had been on the insurance for 2 years and is going to get off, we give them a payment to get off the insurance. So that has saved us some too.
And then, just to refresh, this is, so do we negotiate with the health provider directly, or is it a group?
We belong to the Southeastern Massachusetts Health Group. So there's several area towns that are in the group.
And so now, is the experience rating on the entire group, or do they take our town?
It's on the group.
It's on the group. And how many towns are in that group?
Right now, I think we have 9.
9? And that's been consistent now for,
We lost Easton recently.
thanks.
And everyone is, one of our big concerns we have, and I'm not sure, I forget now the date, but if the Cadillac tax holds, as far as the health care plan, that'll cost us about $350,000 a year if that ever kicks in. So whatever's being proposed and moving forward through Congress, all I've heard is that they were delaying the Cadillac. The proposal was to delay the Cadillac tax till 2025. But I haven't seen anything yet, so I don't know. But right now, if that kicked in, the town would have to pay $350,000 a year.
Okay, got a motion on unemployment?
Do we have to vote them separately, Mike?
Did we vote
Yes.
employee benefits?
That's what,
Mr. Chairman,
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I move that we recommend account 910-510 in the amount of $2,601,305.
This motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? One abstention.
Mr. Chairman,
Aye.
I move that we recommend account number 910-511 in the amount of $7,520,000.
Second.
This motion is second. All those in favor?
Mr. Chairman,
Abstention. Mike.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend account number 910-570 in the amount of $460,000.
Okay, this motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstention.
Okay, next budget is 9/11 unemployment compensation, and I've reduced that to $55,000. If you look at 2015, we expended $48,338. In 16, we expended $30,270. So, I mean, this is an example, I think, of in order to make this budget balance where we're cutting out a lot of the fat that could be there for a cushion later on, like when you come to turnbacks or whatever. So we're cutting this to $55,000 right now based on the budget as proposed. I don't anticipate there being any major layoffs. I don't see why there would have to be.
Mr. Chairman,
Rick,
I move that we approve, recommend the amount of 55,000, unemployment comp department 911-570.
Second.
this motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Next budget, 940 miscellaneous, gasoline, oil, diesel. I've reduced that to 125,000, and we'll also keep an eye on that. And the anticipation, you figure we had a car and 2 SUVs that were using gasoline at the town, and we've now switched to the hybrids. So I'm hoping with these 4 cars we have, we'll save considerably on gasoline costs. And in the last few years, prices have remained low, and so hopefully that's going to continue. The next is our insurances. Our workers' comp is based on experience rating, and our insurances, we don't have any actual numbers right now. So our workers' comp obviously is based on experience, and the other insurances, I've talked to the agent and been told that the maximum possible increase would be 4%. So we're hoping, obviously, it comes in lower than 4%, but we've planned on a 4% increase, and under charges and expenditures for our insurance, it's $625,921. One of them that is going up is our law enforcement liability insurance. I know that that's going to increase. And also our public officials is increasing. But the other is, I'm waiting to see what the actual numbers are going to be.
Mr. Chairman,
Mike,
I move that we recommend account 940-540 in the amount of $125,000.
motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend account number 940-570 in the amount of $625,921.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Next budget is 131 Finance Committee, and I'm recommending a level funded budget of $1,310.
Maybe we should cut it before the new
Silence.
secretary gets here.
Silence.
Don't we all have to abstain here?
Yeah.
Last year, we
Got a turn back?
only spent $791. Sarah must be holding on to some of those
I
timesheets.
seriously haven't turned him in I can't tell you how long. You gotta see if Mike has one for me tonight.
Mr. Chairman,
Mike,
I move that we recommend account number 131-570 in the amount of $1,310.
motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Next is Zoning Board of Appeals, and it's just a small budget, $300 for office supplies for the zoning board. There, and I will say, just so everyone remembers, that we do have a clerk up there now, which is great. She's doing a great job. She's planning and zoning, so her salary's in the planning budget.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend $300 for 177 zoning board of appeals.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Industrial Development Commission, 0.
Can we drop that now?
After 3 years?
After 3 years, right?
Yeah,
It's been.
Yeah, I don't think any money's been put in it.
Well, I don't know if we want to drop it, just, you know, it's just a placeholder, really.
We're talking about changing the name to economic development.
Oh.
Right.
So I think we're maybe let it hang on for another
Yep.
year. We always got that commercial zoning is important.
Right.
Well, doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that the commission goes out of existence because it doesn't have a budget.
Right.
But it somehow seems, frankly to me, to be sort of ludicrous to keep a budget in there that's been 5 or 6 years with zero, until there's a need. The minute there's a need, I'm more than happy to appropriate some money for it, but there hasn't been, and there hasn't been any call for it, so
But the
I guess
account's-
my feeling would be to drop it.
The account's not gonna disappear. It'll stay
Right.
there. We just don't have to show it.
Right.
Okay.
That's,
I-
makes it a lot simpler than people.
It's fine.
looking at it.
So do we just ignore this or not vote on it?
We'll talk to the accountant and see about just taking it off the whole budget,
Yep.
if that's fine with you.
Sure.
Until there's a call from my funds, just leave it off the budget.
Next item is 294 tree warden, $2,000. It's been 2,000 every year.
Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend count 294,510 in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
This motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
The next budget, I think, is in the same category, the Industrial Development Commission. It's 691 Historical Commission, and 6 years that I've been here, we've never put money into the Historical Commission.
Say the same thing.
Let's do the same.
Yeah.
I think that should
Okay.
disappear.
Delete it. Money, they can come back, put it back.
Next is 692 Memorial and Vets, and $1,500 is the request.
Why the increase?
It's the same.
It's the same.
Same as it was last.
That's what FY '17 was 15.
Oh, I'm looking at
also.
expended, okay.
It's been 15,
Motion?
it's been 15 for a
Chairman?
while.
Rick?
I move that we approve Department 692 Memorial and Vets, the amount of $1,500.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
And then we come to the same again, 693 Historic District Commission. No money's ever been put in there since 6 years I've been here either. So I'll ask the accountant about those three.
Yeah.
And just, I know Rick mentioned a couple times, last night the planning board did meet on 2 of the articles, actually 3 of the articles, for rezoning, and they voted 2 of them to move them forward with their positive recommendation. The rezoning of Route 140 to Village Commercial from Reservoir Street down to Smith, and they also voted to rezone Leonard Street and East Main to industrial.
Was that a unanimous vote to recommend?
I can't say for sure. I think, was it Bob? Yeah, it was. And there was one other one that was a smaller issue where someone was trying to, they have a home that was a model home, was people could come in and look at this model home and how to buy houses. And it zoned industrial right now, and we're looking to rezone it residential, and they didn't vote to move that forward. And Mr. Chairman and the committee, is there any chance of moving the next 3 weeks to Monday night?
I don't have a problem. Any conflicts with anything?
Sure.
Okay,
Monday?
thank you.
Next 3 weeks, Monday, all right?
So we still, all those budgets that were presented to us from the town department heads, we still have to, we have to vote those. They were just presented to us at the time. So the next meeting, we can go through.
Start on those Monday, go through them, okay?
Yeah.
We've got the town manager's recommendations now. We didn't have them then.
We didn't have it then.
We have them now.
Yeah, but we still have to vote on it.
Oh, yes, we still, but I'm just saying, I
Yeah.
haven't.
That was their wish list budget, right?
No, that was the
That was the-
level services.
That was the level.
Level services? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But we didn't have the
That was
town
really
managers. I guess that's in the packet you got last week, or?
Yeah, they're all, week by week, and there were no
right,
town
I'll-
managers.
This
I'll
week,
get-
we got the town manager. and
I'll
all.
get that from you.
What do you,
So we're gonna meet next Monday.
All right, next Monday, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, under business,
If there's more of these over there, you can have
a motion.
So moved. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I don't need it.
All those in favor?
Thank you.